William swallowed a tiny blue pill in one gulp. Instantly, he felt invincible, his body radiating damn testosterone. Like a panther, he pounced on his girlfriend Lisa, handing her a glass of champagne as he did so. She downed the entire glass in one go. William couldn't wait to get started, but less than 60 seconds later, he collapsed flat on his back. When the 118 rescue team rushed in, they found the couple stuck in bizarre positions in the hot spring. Lisa, both embarrassed and panicked, told paramedic Hen he'd taken that male enhancement pill. Hen immediately dispatched team member Buck to find the pill bottle and investigate. Lisa stammered an explanation. They'd been playing a romantic bubble bath game when her boyfriend suddenly collapsed. Terrified, her legs had cramped up, and now they couldn't separate. Buck returned with evidence confirming he'd taken both heart medication and Viagra simultaneously. Hen instantly recognized the lethal combination of nitroglycerin and sildenafil causing severe hypotension. They had to get them out of the water immediately. Lisa was on the verge of breaking down. She'd rather stay submerged forever than be carried to the ambulance in such an embarrassing position. Team member Han posed the crucial question: how could they get the lady to relax first? Ryan stepped forward and told Lisa to imagine herself turning into jelly from her toes to her knees, then her abdomen completely letting go. Miraculously, it worked. Lisa finally released William. After this absurd ordeal, Lisa finally realized her previous demands on her boyfriend had been far too harsh. The team members shook their heads and laughed. Yet their next mission was anything but funny. A mother called 911 reporting her son had been shot in the head. When firefighters arrived, young Charlie was holding a towel to his head. Firefighter Buck couldn't believe Charlie could act so normal after being shot. But when they removed the towel, there was indeed a bullet hole in Charlie's temple. The entire crew was stunned. After examination, they confirmed it was a gunshot wound, with no other injuries to his head. This meant the bullet was still lodged in the boy's brain. But what had actually happened? Charlie's mother looked toward the wall in horror. The firefighters followed her gaze and noticed the bullet hole in the wall. It turned out several thugs lived next door to her family. They started shooting at each other over a trivial argument, and a bullet pierced the wall, striking her son. The wall had also played a crucial buffering role. That's why Charlie hadn't died instantly. His only symptom was a slightly itchy nose. Just as the team prepared to transport him to the hospital, a teammate downstairs suddenly warned that armed criminals were ascending the stairs. Intense gunfire erupted in the hallway. Firefighters shielded the boy as they crouched for cover. A quick-thinking female teammate grabbed a wall-mounted fire extinguisher, jammed the trigger, and hurled it into the criminals' firing zone. The gushing dry powder choked the criminals, sending them fleeing in disarray. Once the firefighters understood the situation, they wasted no time preparing to remove the bullet. But as they loaded into the ambulance heading to the hospital, Charlie's nose grew increasingly itchy. The firefighters suspected it might be cerebrospinal fluid leaking from a brain injury. They quickly shone their flashlight to check, and indeed, something was there. But when they used forceps to extract it, they were stunned. The bullet had somehow avoided all vital areas of the brain and worked its way out through the nasal cavity. The dispatch center soon relayed an even more heartbreaking call. The fire department responded to an overdose report. Upon arrival, the homeowner, Mia, insisted they had the wrong address. Only after verifying the address and caller information did Mia realize the person who called for help was her own mother. She rushed into the bedroom to find her mother lying peacefully on the bed. Mia demanded to know why she had called for help. Her mother confessed she was about to die. Unable to bear the pain of terminal cancer, she had taken an overdose. Upon hearing this, the paramedics swiftly examined her and found her blood pressure dangerously low, at risk of respiratory arrest. Just as they prepared to administer emergency treatment, the elderly woman presented a do not resuscitate (DNR) order. Legally bound by the document, they had no authority to intervene. Her daughter tearfully begged to save her mother, but the elderly woman firmly stated that she would rather depart with dignity than cling to life in agony. Her daughter emotionally asked why she had still made the call. Through her tears, her mother answered, "All of this is for you. I didn't want you to face death alone. This is my final act of love and protection." At that moment, the firefighter's eyes welled up with tears. Mia held her mother's hand and said, "Whether I have days or months left, I will stay by your side." The elderly woman wept. "My illness has burdened you too much. You gave up your own life to care for me. Now I wish for your freedom that is true liberation." In her final moments, Mia recalled the bedtime stories her mother told her as a child, the life lessons she taught, and even the rebellious defiance of her teenage years. Upon learning of her mother's illness, she resolutely abandoned everything to come care for her. Now her mother was gone forever. Though fate had been harsh, life must go on. Carrying her mother's final love, she would bravely begin a new chapter. The rescue team's mood grew somber. But the next call abruptly pulled them back into a more chaotic reality. 8 months pregnant Lena stormed into a motel to catch her husband cheating. The front desk clerk insisted on protecting guest privacy and refused to reveal the room number. Despite Lena presenting various marriage certificates, she couldn't break through. Lena was furious. She jumped onto a nearby loader and drove it straight at the motel. Her pent-up rage erupted. She spun the vehicle around and rammed it a second time, crashing into a load-bearing column until the roof collapsed and the loader finally stopped. Firefighters quickly rescued Lena. She was unharmed but faced criminal charges. Lena was prepared to accept the consequences. Suddenly, she spotted her husband and his mistress exiting the room. Ironically, the cheating husband was a firefighter Marion's recent favorite matchmaking prospect. The captain had even pushed hard to bring them together. Now, the entire scene fell into awkward silence.
Wait, you know her? You know him?
Not as you see her, but yeah.
You're gonna hear it from my lawyers and all my uncles! Please take me away, sir.
You can forget about Saturday night, too.
You are a disappointment.
Shortly after, a similar incident unfolded among the firefighters. Jade rushed to rescue someone in a hotel room, only to discover the unconscious man was his father-in-law. The panicked woman calling for help beside him wasn't his mother-in-law. While the emergency team investigated the cause, Judd directly suggested checking blood sugar. His teammates were surprised, but the test confirmed it was shock caused by hypoglycemia. Paul sensed the gossip, but Judd, seeing the woman's concerned expression toward his father-in-law, left the room with mixed feelings. After his father-in-law regained consciousness, he pleaded with Jader to keep it a secret. Jader, who had never kept secrets from his wife Grace since their marriage, found himself in a dilemma. He deeply loved Grace and didn't want to deceive her, yet he couldn't bear the thought of her heartbreak upon learning the truth. On one side was the terrified Grace and her mother-in-law. On the other, his father-in-law, who was weaving lies. Jader's heart was filled with struggle and guilt. The perceptive Grace soon sensed something was amiss. She uncovered the truth through the police dispatch records from that day. When Jader returned home that evening to confess, Grace interrupted him, expressing understanding and forgiveness for his concealment. She understood it all stemmed from love and protection. She needed time to convince herself to forgive her father. The next day, Grace intended to tell her mother, but witnessing her mother's unconditional devotion to her father, she ultimately chose silence. The question lingers, is concealment deceit? Is a lie told with good intentions still betrayal? Or perhaps there's another possibility. Grace's mother had known the truth all along. For the sake of the family and the image of her father's integrity in her daughter's heart, she chose to endure in silence. Yet the absurdities of life kept unfolding. Look at this crazy fan. Eva burst into actor Joey's wife's selection event, screaming she wanted to be with him forever. She pulled out a bottle of mysterious liquid and poured it onto the ground. Then she flopped down onto it, writhing around, to spread the liquid evenly over her entire body. The director and producer rushed over to pull her up, but the woman was already firmly glued to the floor. The slightest force would tear her skin. The host quickly dialed 911. When Maddie heard it was the host of Joey's beauty pageant calling, she was so excited she forgot about the rescue. Even her supervisor took the chance to ask about the show's progress, completely ignoring the emergency call. When the fire department arrived, Eva still refused to be rescued. She kept shouting Joey's name, hoping to get attention. Team Dr. Hen carefully examined her condition, but when Han turned around,
It's Joey.
he saw Buck and Eddie now surrounded by a crowd of contestants. The women, rejected from the show, expressed interest in dating them. Eddie flatly refused the invitations. Hen informed the captain that Eva was showing clear symptoms of dermatitis, with large areas of skin glued to the floor. She might have absorbed significant toxins and required immediate medical attention. The captain ordered her transported along with the floor. Eva was utterly devastated. She'd gone to such lengths for Joey, yet he hadn't even glanced her way. Then Eva remembered Mike, the one who'd knelt before her. Though he was just a shoe shiner, Mike truly loved her. Team member Han suddenly received an urgent call. It was his wife, a dispatcher, calling just to see Joey.
I can't be doing this right now.
Flip your camera. Who's the bachelor?
It's someone you know.
Okay, so who is it? Flip the camera. Flip it.
Okay.
It's Joey.
In the end, Eva and the entire floor slab were loaded onto the ambulance together.
Do I have to? I would not.
Bye! Slide into my DMs!
Soon, The radio crackled with reports of occupational hazards on the job. Today's task of trimming the walnut trees was particularly demanding. Diaz believed they should split up, but Hendricks firmly disagreed. Most of the work required two people working in tandem to complete. Diaz considered Hendricks a liability, useless help who only slowed him down. He split the task list in two and even made a bet in front of Hendricks. If Hendricks finished first, Diaz would wash his socks for a month. Hendricks watched Diaz rush off, reminding him to stay safe. Shortly after, the emergency command center received a mysterious distress call. The caller remained silent, only tapping away at the keyboard. Dispatcher Gwen sensed something was wrong. They immediately pinpointed the phone signal's location and dispatched the 118 rescue team to the scene. The team quickly arrived at the target location, discovering it was a vast walnut orchard. They conducted a thorough search and eventually found an injured person under a tree. Rushing over to check, they found Diaz had been struck in the neck by a chainsaw. New recruit Wilson froze in shock at the sight. The chainsaw had sliced directly into Diaz's collarbone area. It likely occurred when he hit a knot, causing a violent kickback. Diaz's blood pressure continued to drop. They first stabilized the saw blade, then unscrewed and successfully detached it. He now required urgent medical attention, while new recruit Wilson lay on the ground vomiting uncontrollably. As Diaz was loaded into the ambulance, his partner Hendricks arrived upon hearing the news. Learning Diaz was stable, Hendricks deeply regretted the decision to split up. Meanwhile, another group of activists found themselves in even greater peril due to their extreme actions. This was the region's largest duck processing facility, where countless ducks were slaughtered daily. To protest this slaughter, activists secretly infiltrated the facility and began live streaming their demonstration. They pulled U-locks from their bags and chained themselves to the slaughter line. The owner rushed over upon hearing the commotion. They accused him of being a cold-blooded killer. The owner roared, "This is illegal trespassing." Activist Diaz declared, "Not a single duck will be killed today with us here." The owner charged forward in fury, but the activists stood their ground, determined to fight to the end. Another member poured soy sauce onto the conveyor belt. The owner rushed to stop him. Suddenly, the hatch slammed shut, and the machinery began moving. As the chain rotated, Diaz screamed in terror. Someone was already being hoisted up, plunging the entire scene into panic. Suddenly, the machine jammed. Diaz was entangled in the chain and began struggling to breathe. The owner immediately called 911. Rescue teams rushed to the scene. Captain Bobby inquired if the chain could be cut. The owner explained that shutting down the machine would spoil 1,400 duck carcasses. Activists frantically searched for the key. Diaz gasped, "I swallowed the key." The situation became critical. Rescue teams prepared hydraulic cutters to free him for immediate transport. Suddenly, the owner cut the power. An enraged captain pinned the owner against the wall. The owner claimed he only wanted to teach them a lesson. Rescuer Buck stepped in to calm the captain. Suddenly, Diaz stopped breathing. They attempted the Heimlich maneuver, but the key was lodged too deeply. They laid Diaz flat and began to assist him with breathing. Then, using medical forceps, they reached into his throat and successfully extracted the key. But Diaz suddenly lost vital signs. The owner was also stunned. The team continued CPR. Fortunately, the rescue was timely, and Diaz finally began breathing again. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. After his shift, firefighter Han was enjoying dinner with his girlfriend Maddie at a revolving restaurant. Maddie noticed a couple behind them preparing for a proposal. The man pulled out a ring box, ready to speak, when he realized every customer was staring at them. Some even raised their phones to take pictures. He instantly froze, completely flustered. The woman across from him reached out to take the ring, but the man, gripping it too tightly from nerves, suddenly dropped it to the floor. The couple shared an awkward laugh. The man quickly knelt to search. Hen couldn't help but smile at the scene. The woman finally found the ring box under the table. She opened it expectantly, only to discover a pair of earrings inside. Confused, she asked the man if he was joking. He hurriedly explained, "Next week is your birthday. I wanted to give you a double surprise." Their argument drew attention from nearby diners. Just then, an unexpected accident occurred. As the woman stood up, she was suddenly trapped by the swivel chair. Her entire body was wedged between the table and the pillar. She screamed in pain. Hen rushed over immediately upon hearing the sound. He demanded the restaurant manager reverse the chair's rotation, but the manager said the swivel mechanism could only operate clockwise. The woman's pelvis was severely compressed. The anxious man urged Hen to rescue her quickly. Hen needed to find tools to pry open the pillar. His girlfriend, Maddie, kept reassuring the injured woman nearby. Hen knelt down and began prying the table. After two powerful strikes, the structure finally gave way. Together, they laid the woman flat to assess her injuries. They discovered a fractured pelvis combined with internal arterial bleeding, requiring immediate splinting. They tore off the tablecloth to make a stretcher and carefully turned the woman over. After administering emergency care, the man repeatedly apologized to his girlfriend. It turned out they'd been dating for 5 years, and the man had delayed proposing out of fear of rejection. After confessing this,
I'm asking now.
Yes, Larry.
it was truly an unforgettable proposal. The next day, the dispatch center received a highest priority call. Armored truck driver Nick delivered bank cash. Hearing that Plun was retiring today, he shook hands to say goodbye. But Plun, who was germ-phobic, immediately disinfected his hands with alcohol after the handshake. Nick, just exiting the vault, suddenly fell foaming at the mouth and convulsing. Nina had a colleague dial 911. Then she remembered Plun in the vault and rushed over to find him exhibiting identical symptoms. The 118 rescue team arrived. Veteran Eddie, trained in nerve agents, confirmed the symptoms matched perfectly. Captain Bobby immediately ordered Hendricks to stand down. He rushed into the lobby, commanding Hen and Buck to stay away from Nick and prepare for chemical agent containment. From that moment, no one was allowed to enter or exit. Just then, the vault door slammed shut automatically. Hendricks dashed inside to pull Plun out, but Plun clutched his face with both hands. Both men were trapped inside the vault. Since the vault used a timed locking mechanism, bank staff couldn't open it and had to contact the vault company for remote unlocking. While Nina was on the phone, the captain realized Hendricks was also infected. The hazardous materials response team arrived promptly. After the captain explained the situation, they immediately established a maximum level decontamination station. All bank employees would be decontaminated and sent to the hospital, and the bank would undergo comprehensive testing. Nina had contacted the vault company, who were attempting remote unlocking. It was estimated to take several hours with a low success rate. Buck attempted to cut through the steel door with a chainsaw, but it was too sturdy to even crack. To prevent suffocation, the captain decided to drill ventilation holes in the door. Though the electrified steel door's complex connection system posed a challenge, it didn't faze Captain Bobby. He had Hendricks cut the bank's power supply, then successfully drilled holes in the steel door with an electric drill. Oxygen was pumped inside. The next step was prying open the vault. The captain contacted his fiance's ex-husband to obtain the bank's blueprints, identifying the structure's weakest point. The team finally began prying open the bank vault. They first drilled a ring of holes in the concrete wall, then swung sledgehammers to smash an opening. After inserting crowbars, they used the fire truck's winch to pull at the wall, but the wall proved too solid to budge. Then the captain received devastating news. Nick, the first to be poisoned, had died. Buck, enraged, activated the fire truck's full traction. Its horsepower proved astonishing. The concrete wall finally tore open. Meanwhile, Hendricks delivered good news. The remote control system had suddenly regained access.
Seriously?
When rescuers entered the vault, they found Hendricks and Plun's symptoms had completely vanished. It wasn't nerve agent poisoning at all. The hazardous materials team detected no chemical residues. The exact cause remained beyond the scope of the investigation. But as soon as the crew returned to the fire station, FBI agents arrived. They discovered $300,000 in stolen cash inside the fire truck. The entire team was stunned. FBI agents summoned all participants for interrogation, using leading questions in a series of interviews. Yet these seasoned rescue workers, hardened by major incidents, possessed rock-solid mental fortitude. They faced the questioning with unflappable composure. The most absurd revelation came after hours of questioning. The stolen money belonged to an armored truck, not the vault. The earnest Buck remained bewildered throughout. Furious, Athena and Hendricks resolved to investigate independently. Hendricks recalled Plun's odd gesture of touching his face and noted the disinfectant the man always carried. They requested FBI assistance but were met with suspicion. Athena demanded surveillance footage, pointing out Plun's last shift was yesterday. She had seen news of firefighters rescuing children from a vault and knew all rescue procedures, including power disconnection protocols. Meanwhile, bank manager Nina discovered $6 million worth of diamonds missing. Rushing to Plun's home, she found him already murdered, apparently killed while preparing to flee, and the diamonds vanished. She suspected an inside job. Just then, the FBI began suspecting Hendricks and searched all team members' residences. Everyone was furious and speechless. When Hendricks received the toxicology report confirming scorpion venom, he instantly knew the true culprit. Marty, the fire department maintenance worker, had long used scorpion venom to treat his arthritis. He knew that an overdose could trigger a neurotoxic reaction. Amid the chaos at the scene, he impersonated a firefighter to distract the armored truck driver. During the decontamination process, he stole the driver's uniform and keys, retrieved the cash from the truck, and hid it in the fire truck. But when he went to retrieve the loot, The money had vanished. It turned out this was all part of Plun's double-cross scheme. Having worked at the bank for 30 years, Plun knew the contents of every safe deposit box with his eyes closed. He first played along with Marty's plan, using scorpion venom to knock himself out in the vault. Familiar with firefighter rescue procedures, he knew the power outage during the rescue operation would be his perfect opportunity to steal the diamonds. But Hendrix's unexpected arrival disrupted the plan. He poisoned Hendrix first, then stole the diamonds during the blackout. After hiding the diamonds, he betrayed Marty by reporting the armored car robbery. This diverted the FBI's attention, allowing him to flee the country. Marty, unable to find the loot, confronted Plun. He caught Plun attempting to escape and suspected him of trying to keep the money for himself. A fierce struggle.
What? I didn't kill nobody.
Where are the diamonds?
Diamonds? What diamonds? There are diamonds?
The autopsy report confirmed Marty hadn't committed murder. After the bank blackout, Plun swallowed all $6 million worth of diamonds but died from acute intestinal obstruction. The bank robbery case was finally solved. The bizarre truth left everyone emotionally drained. As they returned, exhausted, a call concerning the past and unresolved issues awaited their captain. Two young brothers came to the beach to surf. Since the younger brother was too young, the older brother could only teach him the basics from the shore. The younger brother learned quickly and couldn't wait to try in the water, but his brother firmly refused, insisting he continue practicing on shore. He grabbed his surfboard and charged into the ocean. Watching his brother swim farther and farther away, the younger brother reluctantly picked up his surfboard, dove into the sea, and slowly swam toward his brother's location. He quickly reached his brother's side. The brother, newly surf-trained, worried his older sibling, but after persistent pleading, the older brother reluctantly agreed to let him play in the shallow area. The younger brother found the shallow waves too small and unsatisfying. He slid toward the deep water without permission, completely unaware of the danger closing in. When the older brother turned around, he suddenly saw a massive wave approaching. He urgently shouted for his brother to come closer. The younger brother frantically paddled back, but it was too late. The wave hurled him into the air and slammed him back down into the sea. The older brother frantically shouted his brother's name. All he could see was the surfboard floating on the surface, its leash already broken. He swam desperately back to shore searching for his brother. Finally, not far away, he spotted his brother who had been washed ashore. Lifeguards rushed to assist. The brother quickly located a phone booth and dialed 911. Firefighters arrived swiftly, transporting the younger brother to the hospital. Tragically, his life could not be saved. Upon hearing the news, the older brother was consumed by guilt. His gaze fell upon the clown image on the wall, which had instilled in him a lifelong phobia. 40 years later, the boy had become a fire chief, yet he still couldn't forgive himself. When Owen returned to the old place that day, the memories flooded back. He never surfed the ocean again. Owen hated not only himself but also his father, whose actions had led to his brother's death and the subsequent breakdown of their family. As Owen moved away with his mother, he watched his father's figure fade through the car window. He knew everything was gone forever. Years later, upon learning his father was critically ill, all resentment dissolved into longing when he saw him. He finally voiced the guilt buried deep within his heart.
Dad, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I couldn't save him. I tried. I swear to God, I tried.
It's not your fault, son.
His father confessed he had silently watched over him all these years. Back then, he had abandoned his family only because he couldn't face the pain. He begged his son for forgiveness. With the knot untied, the captain picked up his surfboard once more. In that moment, he truly let go of the past and bravely faced the future. At the amusement park, the Ferris wheel malfunctioned suddenly. One gondola plummeted, striking ground crew below. A girl remained trapped midair, unable to escape. Firefighters arrived and assessed the scene. Ground rescue seemed relatively straightforward, but the aerial rescue posed the true challenge. In a heart-stopping moment, Emma panicked and lost her balance. The gondola began spinning. Spectators screamed in terror. Firefighters immediately split into two teams, one to rescue the trapped staff, the other to deploy the aerial ladder truck for the girl. Yet even at maximum height, the ladder fell short. Worse, the girl lost control, violently shaking the safety door. Finally, the door lock failed, and the cabin door swung open. The entire crowd gasped in horror. Fortunately, Emma managed to grab the doorframe and struggled back into the cabin. Captain Casey made a split-second decision to move the ladder truck to adjust its position, but this would take too much time. New recruit Garo proposed a bold plan. to set up an extension ladder between the top of the ladder truck and the cabin. Kathy approved this risky plan. 2 team members hoisted the ladder and climbed the aerial platform. Soon, they successfully secured the telescopic ladder to the Ferris wheel support structure. At this moment, Gallo climbed the precarious ladder without any safety gear, showcasing his exceptional balance. But when it came time to assist Emma, they faced a problem. Emma was so terrified she couldn't move. Garou patiently reassured and encouraged Emma, who finally mustered the courage to climb out of the gondola. A terrifying moment occurred when Emma's foot slipped, nearly causing her to fall. Garou lightning fast grabbed her arm. The crowd gasped in collective shock. With Garou's persistent encouragement, Emma safely climbed back onto the ladder. The entire crowd erupted in thunderous applause as ground rescue operations simultaneously concluded successfully. Watching the girl reunite with her family, Gallo felt the true value of being a firefighter. The rescue team once again proved themselves the city's most steadfast guardians,